have quite a few, but I'd say number one, social media is definitely your friend. Um, a lo- Social media can get a really bad rap, but if you use it in the right way and stay positive, and embrace it, it's free. It's an organic way to reach people, and it's just a great way to connect.
Welcome, everyone, to the Closing Table Podcast, real accounts from real estate professionals, brought to you by WindowStill. I'm your host, Kat Schooler, and today I'm sitting down with Kristin Braun. Kristin is the broker and co-owner of Mi Home Realty Group out in Muskegon, Michigan. And today we sit down and talk about her transition from 16 years as an elementary school teacher into building her own real estate business. We talk about her love for educating her clients and how she does so, and really zoom in on the money you need to bring to the table to purchase a home. We also talk about some of the biggest lessons Kristin has learned since beginning her real estate journey, and how she prioritizes safety and how no one should be afraid to involve law enforcement if your property seems unsafe. So, without further ado, let's jump right in and talk to Kristin. Kristin, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm so excited to talk to you. You have a really cool background. You were an elementary school teacher for 16 years, and now you've transitioned into real estate. Talk us through that journey.
Sure. Well, thanks for having me here today, Kat. So yeah, I was an elementary school teacher for 16 years, mainly kindergarten, a little bit of second grade, phys ed, technology, whatever they needed. And although I loved that career for a long time, I started to find myself kind of burnt out about year 14 and started really soul searching and trying to decide what else might be the right fit for me. So I actually had a little stint with fitness coaching for actually about 6 years. And I did fitness coaching on the side of teaching and grew that business to a place where I felt comfortable enough to leave teaching. And so I took this year um, and solely did fitness coaching from home. It was all virtual. And during that year, I realized, although teaching wasn't for me anymore, that I needed to do some soul searching and figure out what I could do that also involved people because I really miss that in person human connection. And of course, lots of ideas came to mind, but the one that kept coming to top of mind was real estate. I'd always been intrigued by, first of all, homes, home design, and also business. And I thought combining the two just sounded really exciting and interesting to me. And so I decided I was going to go all in, signed up for an online course, took it, took the test, and started the next day. So that's kind of how I got to where I'm at now, the very quick version.
Yeah, and I'm curious, did you continue doing the fitness coaching? Was there's some overlap there, or did you just end one and start the next?
Great question. So yeah, I'll always be a part of. I was a part of a very well-known fitness industry or fitness company in the fitness industry, virtually, and grew a great team. And I'm still connected with those people, but took a step back. So although I'm still an active fitness, I guess, mentor, I I definitely took a big step back when I started my real estate career because it just got so busy. It's
Oh
hard to
yeah, I
balance
can.
both.
Oh, I can imagine, and this is the one you want to grow, right?
Absolutely. This is definitely my passion. And, throughout this journey, I thought, as a kid graduating college, I just assumed, okay, I'm going to choose one career and do it forever. And now I think we live or we can live to be so much older. And why just have one career if it's not fulfilling you anymore? So while that fulfilled me for a long time, it was fun to kind of evolve and change and find a new passion. And I really have found that in the real estate industry. And I also feel that my educational background lends itself well to real estate when it comes to especially first-time home buyers, or, the first time a client wants to sell a house. There's so much education that I can provide. And so I still use that educational background in real estate too. So that's been that's been very helpful in this career.
Oh, I can imagine. So, when you're meeting with clients for the first time, what are you going over with them? What are you educating them on?
Good question. So actually that's one of the things I love to do as an agent is to try to set up a dream buyer consult or a home buying consult with my clients. And I have a great packet, I guess, that goes over every single step of the process. And um, they have a chance to ask questions. I get a really good picture of an idea of what the clients are looking for in a home, the location where they want to be, all of the criteria they need in a home, the must-haves. And then we go over every single step of the process, including upfront home costs, which is really a huge piece that a lot of buyers don't understand going into the process. And also share lender referrals and credit repair ideas and all sorts of things. So I find taking that upfront time is very valuable because it really puts the client at ease, especially if it's something, I mean, we don't buy and sell houses every day. So it just puts them at ease to be able to know they can be comfortable with me, ask any question that they might have. And if I don't have the answer, I'll get it to them. But yeah, that's kind of what I like to do just in general is have that upfront meeting.
So when you're educating them on these upfront home costs, I know each situation is different and every transaction is different, but what are maybe some of the ones you're going over with everyone that maybe people who haven't bought a house before or maybe haven't bought a house in 20 years, these things might be new to them?
Absolutely. So first of all, a down payment and that really depends on what kind of financing they're able to obtain. And that's really a lender question, but we do talk about down payment. We talk about different grants that might be available if needed or, desired. We talk about the earnest money deposit, the EMD, and what that might look like for a really great offer and to be able to have a competitive offer in the marketplace, depending on whatever's happening in the market. We talk about the cost of a home inspection and how important that home inspection is before investing in a home. We talk about the appraisal, the cost of that, and what that means, what it looks like. I think there's a lot of confusion when it comes to how much a home buyer needs to have for a down payment, as well as um, the earnest money deposit, that it's not in addition to a down payment, that it's part of that down payment and what they need to bring to the closing table and closing costs as well. And I partner with a lender to really help specify for each client what that really looks like because it is different for each person and each client.
Oh, that's so great. Thank you. For your clients, do you have any kind of memorable successes that have stood out to you? Maybe you've helped someone, who was trying to buy, who, was struggling, a time and time again, or maybe a sale that was taking a while and you were able to swoop in and help them out.
Yeah, I mean, there's several. It's so funny because every single real estate transaction is different. No two are the same, and I learn something new every single time. I think my favorite story though is I had a buyer client a few years back, and she had been looking for a home on and off for a year, and she ended up firing her agent before I came along in the picture. Um, and for whatever reason, communication or whatnot. And we hit it off and we looked at, I don't even know, maybe 25 homes over the course of several months. And she put in at least a handful of offers. And these offers were competitive. And this was a time in the market during the COVID period when inventory was super low and house prices were skyrocketing. And everybody, well, not everybody, but most clients had to offer some kind of appraisal gap guarantee paying over the appraised value to get a home. And this client, first of all, wasn't really in a position to do that, but she also didn't want to, and understandably so. And so a unique opportunity presented itself when I looked outside of my door one day and noticed that the neighbors who I had never really seen out and about, um, they had a huge dumpster and then they were getting ready for a yard sale. And so I went over and talked with them and said, hey, by any chance, I'm the neighbor, I met them, and um, they were selling a family member's home across the street. So they said, yeah, we're getting ready to sell this home. And I told them about my client and they said, you know what? We we already have an agent, but just bring her over. We haven't signed anything yet, and we'll have our agent meet with you. And so anyway, I brought her over and they talked and she saw the home and she ended up putting in an offer and she she just got a really fair deal on a really nice house. And now she's my neighbor. So I see her almost every day. And we've become friends. And it's just really cool how that all came about. You have to know I really, really like you if I'm willing to put you in a house across the street from me. So I think I love most of my clients have become my friends. Very few have not. And so that's something that I just love about this business is you meet all sorts of people and um, end up having all sorts of friends. So that's like one of the coolest stories. I didn't really explain that very well, but I didn't steal anyone's client. I don't want that to come across that way. That other agent was involved in the sale. So happy story for all.
Yeah, that's so cool how it all just it well, it kind of just like fell out of the sky, right? And came full circle.
It doesn't, it never hurts to ask, right? When you see activity, just go and have a conversation and ask. You might be able to help somebody out.
Did you find maybe your background as a teacher and just constantly meeting new people, right? You meet new students every year, you meet their parents, do you think that really like helped you with the kind of outreach aspect of real estate?
I do. I think that, in any career you might have where you work with all sorts of people, you really become good at reading people and um, getting to know them in different ways. And so I think that definitely helped. It helps with real estate or just talking to people in general, but also I think the social media aspect has helped a lot too, if that makes sense. Like I've connected with a lot of people who I used to teach with, or I've stayed in touch with, previous students and families. And it's fun to see this ages me for sure. Some of my first students who are now buying homes too. So, or at the age where they could start buying homes. So, sorry, I got a little bit off topic there, but
Oh, it's totally
yeah,
fine.
it definitely lends itself. Just having relationships with all sorts of different people and comes into play.
What are you finding in your social media that's like working for you?
I think just being top of mind when it comes down to it, I think that I don't think, I know there are so many realtors out there and so many good realtors. And when someone is getting ready to buy or sell, it's really who they think of first, right? That's who they're going to call to interview or just call to say, hey, I need help with a home. And I thought of you because I always see you on Facebook or I always see your posts on Instagram and I know you're still working your business. And I think that really I try to add value, but I really think that that's what helps the most is just putting myself out there and reminding people that we're out there. Also, I think as a brokerage, we're really trying to give back to the community. We're a really new brokerage, and that's one of our goals is to really like host or sponsor community events as much as we can and be involved with the community to give back because really our clients are our community is at the heart of what we do.
Awesome. Speaking of your community, oh man, I thought I had this written down, but I've got a good memory. You're in Muskegon, right?
Yeah, we're located in downtown Muskegon. Our brokerage, our main center. We have two brokerages, but well, two locations, I should say, one in Muskegon and one in Hazlet. So pretty far apart. Um, but yeah, that's where our one of our physical brokerages is in Muskegon.
And so what area are you in? Are you in that Muskegon area then?
Yep, we're right downtown. I love it downtown because it's really been reinvigorated and there's so many new local like eateries, establishments, shops, and it's just so much fun seeing downtown Muskegon thrive again.
Oh, I love that. What is one of your favorite like places in Muskegon?
Well, I love the Muskegon Farmers Market. It's right across the street from our office, and also we have the 297. I never know. It's this building across the street. It has Aldea Coffee and the kitchen, whatever the number is, 297. I'm so bad at remembering the name of that, but I love it. It's a bar and restaurant. They have great food, great service. That's really fun. And then down Western Avenue a little ways, they have a new coffee shop right next to Hometown Creamery, which has the best ice cream in town. But the Exchange is a brand new coffee shop and it has the best coffee ever. So I really hope that all these businesses continue to stay open. Summer brings a lot of tourists to town and there's a lot of cool festivals and events. And it's just great to see it thriving. it's changed so much. I was born and raised in Muskegon, and it's just, downtown was not the place to be as a kid, and it has really developed over time, and it's just a really cool, thriving location to be.
Love it. Kristen, what would you say is like one of the biggest lessons you've learned since going into real estate?
Oh, I have quite a few, but I'd say number one, social media is definitely your friend. Um, a lo- Social media can get a really bad rap, but if you use it in the right way and stay positive, and embrace it, it's free. It's an organic way to reach people, and it's just a great way to connect. In fact, my first listing came from Facebook, and it's hard to put yourself out there, but I think just getting it done is better than getting it perfect, right? So if you focus on perfection, you're never going to do it. So just start small, get yourself out there. Um, so embracing social media was definitely the first thing that came to mind. Number two, even this year, I learned a lesson, get everything in writing. Even if uh, the real estate law states that you can verbally retract an offer or an agreement, get it in writing. That's something I've learned. Number three, um, this is huge, and I don't see everyone doing this. Learn to set and respect your boundaries. You have a life outside of real estate, and this in this business, it can be really easy to be consumed with this job 24/7 if you let it. So, really just whether it's a time boundary, day, deadline, whatever you have that's important to you, make sure you block out your time and stick to it. Your clients, you're not going to lose the right clients over respecting your boundaries. They'll respect you more for it and know that you bring value when you are with them. So that's a huge one. Um, there's one other one that recently has come into play for me is, and it's something that I think we all should be aware of in this industry, is safety, personal safety. If your gut is telling you, geez, I don't know if I should go in this house right now or go in with this client alone, trust your gut. It's not worth the risk, and it's not worth it. So I either bring another agent, a friend or a spouse, um, call the local police if you need some backup. I've actually done this a couple of times where I thought I was going to a house, um, meeting someone there, or not, I'm sorry, not meeting the client there, checking out maybe a vacant house, for example, and there were windows broken out. And I thought there might be a squatter in that house. There might be someone in the house who shouldn't be. And so just calling the local law enforcement, they are so helpful. I felt like it was such an inconvenience, but they've told me time and time again, hey, this is our job. We're happy to help. We're going to stay until you're done. They're happy to come out. So I've had that happen a couple of different times where I've needed to call, and just don't be scared to do it. So those are some of the biggest kind of like random lessons I've learned in real estate.
I think that last one is super important. I do think we like to talk ourselves down from things a lot, like, oh no, it's not that big of a deal, but like you shouldn't really talk yourself out of personal safety.
Yeah, right. It's kind of important. It's not worth, yeah, it's not worth risking your safety, your life ever. So trust your gut and use the resources that you have available at your fingertips as far as safety, like background checks. So every association has different resources, but I'm part of the WEMLR, West Michigan Lakeshore Association of Realtors, and we have a really great app where we can actually do a quick check before we meet a client. And I highly recommend using whatever resources you have before you go to meet with someone.
Oh, that's excellent. I haven't had somebody speak to that yet, but I did speak to another agent. She's younger, 20s, talking about how she always does a consult first to like meet somebody before she just meets them at their house. And I think these kinds of things are just super important. You hear
Absolutely.
stories in the news. We don't want anyone listening or here to end up as a story in the news.
Right, absolutely. Safety first.
Kristen, are there any myths you think that a lot of people believe about real estate that you think aren't true?
I do. The first one that comes to mind is selling Muskegon or selling anything in Michigan is not like selling Sunset, like the TV show. I think so many people in the public just think realtors open doors and show fancy homes and look pretty and then they get overpaid. And in reality, that is not the case. We work really, really hard. We're doing so much behind the scenes. I can't tell you also about how many days I've dressed down now. This is something else I've learned because of high heels I've ruined or outfits that I've ruined because I'm crawling in dirty crawl spaces to check on a furnace. I am, traipsing through acreage with high heels. Like, no, like it's not the glamorous job that so many people see or think they see, on TV. So I think that realtors can get a bad rep, but honestly, there's so many good agents who are really looking out for their clients. That's, you know, their their clients' interests are at top of mind. And um, yeah, so I think that's probably the biggest myth that I have come across.
Are there any challenges you're facing in the current real estate market, and how are you approaching them?
Well, yes. In fact, we're definitely facing a very unique time in real estate where we've had this huge, the NAR settlement, which I'm sure everyone's very aware of, with a hard date of August 17th nationwide for things that are absolutely changing 100% in real estate. Um, really, when it comes down to it, the changes are very simple. They are basic, but it's the logistics of it that are going to present a challenge. So basically, number one is buyer's agents. Now, anyone showing a home, any agent showing a home has to have something signed in place. So either an exclusive buyer's agency agreement or a customer agreement or something that um, discloses our agency relationship to that client and their responsibility to us. And so that's the number one change. And that's very simple. Some states have adopted that for years. Michigan is a state that hasn't. And so although some agents did practice that or put that into practice, most did not. So that's one of the changes. And then the second big change is that any type of compensation can no longer be advertised on the MLS or any third party sites connected to the MLS, like the Showing Time app. Um, so that's a huge change for us as agents. I really don't think it's going to affect the real estate landscape and as a whole lot. I mean, time will only tell. I think that our local associations and our Michigan Realtors Association, they have really done a great job of creating guidelines and tools, forms for us to use. I just think it'll be a learning curve for a little while to see how it all goes into play. So that's definitely the biggest challenge all of us are facing as realtors right now. Besides the market, just being a little unpredictable, very low inventory, higher interest rates than we've seen in years past, lots of buyers sitting on the sidelines waiting. So that's also a challenge. But I think that, I haven't been in real estate for a decade yet. So I haven't seen like the roller coaster, the wave, but I am writing it out right now and it's going well. So I think we just have to understand that that real estate is always evolving, always changing.
Certainly. And then, did you have any goals that you set for this year? And if so, how are they going?
Yeah, so of course, we always set goals. So in the past, it's always been, so this is, let's see, I became an agent in 2019. So I haven't been in real estate for a long time, but I quickly progressed from realtor to broker owner. So this past year, co-owner with my husband, this past year, my goals are really goals for our brokerage instead of individual goals. So this year, we've really tried to establish and grow our little boutique brokerage that we opened up. So my husband and I were both with a very well-known international company to begin with, and we decided this past year or a year ago this month, to break away and start our own brokerage. And we brought with us two agents who we had worked with before, and we just had this really solid foundation of this tiny little group. And our only goal was to try to make it successful and grow very, very slowly in a year. And in a year's time, we have grown to 8 licensed agents. We're ready to welcome our ninth as soon as she takes the exam and gets ready to roll. And so our goal was really to grow it not quickly, and it was to grow it slowly and with the right people. So yeah, our broker or our goal was to just grow it with integrity and just uh, onboard agents who were in real estate for the right reasons, honest, fun to work with on transactions. And so yeah, we're growing, we're staying afloat and doing well with uh, or in a time when real estate's really, I think it's one of the lowest years for transactions that this country has seen in a really long time. So I'm really proud of that for our agents. So that our growth goals, we're on target with that, and we're just kind of staying true to that goal. I think that will continue on, and then in addition to that, I know I touched on community events, but we really want to give back to our communities. So our goal this past year was, or that we just set in January, was to be involved in at least two large community events this year. And so this summer we together with a local lender hosted and sponsored a free kids craft booth at the large Lakeshore Arts Festival in Muskegon downtown. And so that was a hit. We had over 400 kids come out, make a windsock, and they had them all throughout the art fair. It was super cute. And it was really fun to connect with families. In fact, a lot of my former students' families I saw that day. That was really fun. Some of my kids' friends. And so it was really nice to have all the agents come and be involved with that too. And then this winter, we're hoping to find, we're in the works of getting something together for a local visit with Santa. If we can convince Santa to come hang out with us for a day, maybe get some really yummy cookies, some cocoa, I don't know, whatever we can do, and then be able to provide family or pet photos with Santa to the community during one of our downtown local events. So we're really excited to be more involved with the community.
With your team, what are you kind of like focusing on with your agents, or what kind of advice do you find you're giving your agents over and over, especially kind of through this challenging market?
I think following up, staying consistent. So consistent follow up with potential clients. You know, a lot of our buyer clients, our agents will have that first conversation, that buyer consult, and we have great buyer packets, like I touched on earlier, and all of our agents have one personalized to them. So meeting with the client, but then that follow up is so important because buyers get discouraged so easily, making sure that they are staying in touch with them, not being overbearing, but just making sure they know, hey, we're here for you when you're ready.
What's the advice you find you're giving your agents kind of over and over, or like maybe even like a through line you're seeing?
Okay, so definitely the consistency to stay top of mind, whether that's through social media or a monthly email or uh, just showing up at our events and things like that. I think that's been really primarily our focus. And then really I find because our brokerage is so small, I love to meet one on one with our agents and really just help them with whatever their needs are. So, for example, today I had an agent who wanted to come up with a social media marketing plan because that's something that's outside of her comfort zone. So, we sat down for an hour and did that. So, being able to meet the agents where they're at and what they want, where the areas where they want to grow, I think is kind of unique to our brokerage because we have the capacity to do that since we are small.
Oh, that's lovely and so smart because, you're giving them that individualized attention.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love it. It feels kind of like a family.
Kristen, is there anything you're looking forward to this year for the rest of 2024? It doesn't have to be real estate related.
Well, now my mind's going in all sorts of directions, and the only thing I can think of is vacations, vacations. No. Um, what am I looking forward to? I'm looking forward to, so I have four kids, and my kids are my world, as most kids are to parents, right? They range from ages, I have almost 2 year old, he'll be two in a couple of weeks, to age 19, sophomore in college at U of M. And so it's quite a range. And I'm always looking forward to anything we can all do together. So uh, this career, though, has really provided me the flexibility to be at all the events and while it can be challenging, if I set those boundaries right and plan it out accordingly, I'm able to be present with them. And that's really the most important thing to me, whether it is on vacation or it's a holiday or it's just us hanging out in the living room and or going to the beach, whatever it is. That's always what I look forward to, is spending time with my family.
That's so beautiful. I love it. Kristin, thank you so much for joining me today. Would you like to tell people how they can find you, how they can work with you?
Sure, absolutely. So you can contact me on Instagram at Kristin Braun Realtor, or Facebook at Kristin Braun, um, or email me at Kristin@KristinBraun.com. So that's that. And I really want to thank you for inviting me on your show today, Kat. It's always fun to listen to the WindowStill. It's through WindowStill, the
Yes.
podcast. Okay. Yeah, it's fun to listen to that and to be involved with this has been an honor. So thank you.
Oh, well, thank you for being here. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you for listening to The Closing Table, brought to you by WindowStill. I'm Kat Schooler. Please be sure you're following our podcast on Apple or Spotify, and if you're part of our YouTube audience, be sure to hit that subscribe button. If you're enjoying this podcast, please feel free to leave us up to a 5-star review or a comment. It helps us find more amazing listeners like you. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.